We all know divorce is so freaking draining. If you find yourself losing patience with your kids over the small things, you may be struggling with your work-life balance. That's a reflection of you most likely not prioritizing your own healing and making space for yourself. I was just working like crazy because any time that I had to myself, when my kids weren't here, I was working. That is a temporary solution. I promise it will catch up with you. It's going to leave you feeling emotionally drained and even more off balance. So be really, really aware of that. Hey friends, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to be here with you today. So today I wanted to dive into something that I think so many of us struggle with after a major life shift. And that is finding the elusive or holy grail, which is that work-life balance. And it's particularly challenging after you've gone through a divorce. And so if you've ever caught yourself, snapping at your kids or missing deadlines or just feeling completely drained, then you may be dealing with more than just a busy schedule. There may be more going on there than you realize. You may really be struggling with balance, right? Because you're trying to navigate all of the challenges and, you're trying to navigate all of the responsibilities and all of the emotional baggage that can really throw us off track. But divorce, and this is what I preach all of the time, when we can have these kinds of conversations and when we can start really peeling back the curtain on our own lives and really looking at some of our behaviors and some of our patterns and some of our emotions and thought patterns and really asking questions and getting curious. As I always say, major life changes, especially divorce, can be an incredible setup for your comeback. I always say on social media, it's like this setback will be your comeback if you lean in and really learn from it. And so much of what I talk about on this show is my hope for you is that there are moments of growth. There are moments where you are questioning your life or what lies ahead and where you're at so that you can grow and move forward. And today is no different. What I really want to focus on today is 10 signs that your work-life balance may be out of whack and what that might look like for you, especially talking about post-divorce, because it's hard. It's hard AF. Doing it on your own post-divorce is hard. And so many of the things I'm going to share with you today are ones that I specifically struggle with. And I didn't realize it at the time. But then looking back and really when it came to a head is when I started my company. And shortly thereafter, I was very burnt out. And it's because I had zero work-life balance for so many of the reasons and things I'm going to share with you today. And so really, I want you just this episode to just be a level of creating awareness for you, right? Maybe start to look at your own life and see if you are, are you doing any of these things or any of these things are showing up for you. And the good news is that there's always a plan to self-correct, right? But that first step is the awareness piece of it. There is always a plan though for us to take some steps to start to rewrite the story, to reroute the ship, all of the things. So grab your favorite drink, girl, settle in, and let's chat about 10 signs you may be struggling with your work-life balance. So I'm going to share the first one with you, which is you are snapping at your kids over small things. Now, some of you listening might be like, girl, that ain't a sign that I have work-life balance I'm struggling with. That's just a sign of being a single mom and it's hard. And yes, I get that. We all know divorce is so freaking draining and it can, in your mind, a lot of times that we're, navigating so many emotions that we're not present. But if you find yourself losing patience with your kids over the small things, I really just want you to pay attention to that because it just may mean that you are overwhelmed. And maybe you're not creating enough space for your own emotional recovery and just to be with your own thoughts, or you're not creating space for family time, right? So that is a dead giveaway, okay? Now, number two is maybe if you notice that you start to feel a little bit resentful towards like either your boss or your coworkers or maybe your clients. So, if you've gone back to work, or even if you've like started a new career post-divorce, I know there's so many single moms listening, or moms that were stay-at-home moms that have now entered back into the workforce. You may just start to notice that when you're at work, you've got some feelings of resentment coming up. And maybe it's because you feel like your job is really taking up too much of your time or your energy, right? And you just feel like you have no space at all for your health, for yourself. I know for me, I really felt like I was in sales for 18 years and I really just started to feel, especially when I was navigating my divorce, like I had no real like bandwidth to manage like my emotions and the kids, and also like being in a high demand sales job. And I just started to get really resentful towards my client. Like, good God, can't you figure this shit out yourself? Like saying those sorts of things. And that's crazy town because I love my clients, but this was, I just did not have the emotional, for those of you on YouTube, do you guys see me trying to swat down? You guys are not watching these episodes on YouTube. You definitely want to grab those over there. That was not meant to be a plug, but these people watching the full video can see. This is Abby, and she drives me crazy when I'm podcasting. She wants to get up underneath me. Anyways, okay. But yes, like when you are just starting to really feel like maybe that your clients and your boss or your coworkers are just, like I said, eating up your time. And that's not really a reflection of them. That's a reflection of you most likely not prioritizing your own healing and making space for yourself. So it's something to pay attention to. Another one that you might just need, another sign that you might just need to take a beat, that your like personal, like work-life balance, all the things is out of whack, is that you're dropping the ball. You're dropping the ball maybe on your work projects. So if you start missing deadlines, you start forgetting important tasks, maybe like you're all of a sudden now just delivering like subpar work because you just feel too thin, or, because you feel too thin between like the kids and the job and now keeping up with the house by yourself and just managing all of those post-divorce emotions. You may need to just take a beat and refocus on some priorities so that you're not failing at your job. Because as we know, that just brings more anxiety. Because as we know, right, like financial stability post-divorce is a huge, huge concern. So like the last thing you want to do is start not showing up at your work the way that you should, right? And so it just means maybe you need to take a step back and look and do things a little bit differently so you don't feel that you're spread so thin. The fourth one, and I got to tell you, this one for me was the number one. You're for like what I did when post-divorce. And yeah, when I started my side hustle. And so this is, you're overcompensating at work to avoid emotions. No, what that looked like for me was that I was working my ass off. Like I started this side hustle, and yes, I definitely wanted to start the side hustle to like, and this can be a positive thing, but you got to watch it. I wanted to like start the side hustle so that I could really pour myself into something that gave me meaning and made me feel good and lit me up, while also it was starting to make me money, right? Like that was a win-win. But what I found was I was taking it too far. And anybody that knows me is like, oh, shocker, Amber. Wait, you taking it too far? Amber, balls to the wall, Shaw. Yep, that's right. I was, okay? I was taking it too far, people, because I was just working like crazy. Because any time that I had to myself, when my kids weren't here, I was working. And what I realized later, when I had a moment of like total breakdown, not soon after starting it was shortly after starting my company, was that I was overcompensating, and I was avoiding feeling what I wanted to feel, or what I didn't want to feel. I was too busy just trying to avoid that because I didn't want to feel. And so I was working crazy hours, right? And so that is a sign, like if you are throwing yourself into work, or maybe you're like taking on more than you can chew, biting off more than you can chew, so that, because your work is kind of serving as a little bit of a distraction, that is a temporary solution. I promise it will catch up with you. It's going to leave you feeling emotionally drained and even more off balance. So be really, really aware of that. Just a few more here. So number 5, if you notice that you are starting to feel guilty about taking time away from your kids. So, maybe you are, you're spending extra hours, right? Like focusing on, maybe you are building a side hustle, right? Maybe you are just at your job, you're trying to get that promotion, right? And you're trying to, build something, create something, or work, get that promotion, work harder, whatever it looks like. And then you start, the mom guilt sets in. You start feeling guilty, right? And then all of a sudden you just start worrying that you're not giving your kids enough attention. Now, that is something to be mindful of for sure, but at the same time, it's kind of like a big mind F, because, you worry that you're not giving your kids enough attention, but you're so overwhelmed with like stress and all of like the emotions that go along with divorce that you're really like physically exhausted anyways, and you're not really present with your kids. So then it just makes everything worse for you. So if you just start to notice that you feel really consumed by guilt all the time, again, it's time to pause. Take a breath, have a little bit of a reframe, maybe reprioritize some things, and just be aware. If you're noticing that, number 6, that your house feels really chaotic or out of control, like we all know, like after divorce, the tidiness of your house, or maybe the laundry, or maybe the getting the dishes in the sink immediately after dinner, like some of that stuff starts to slip. And first of all, I want to say that is okay, right? Like none of that has to be perfect. And so that is okay. But if you really start to just constantly feel like you're behind on like the laundry and the cleaning, or, even getting like your kids in a regular routine, like this is definitely going to add to your stress. So I think that number 1, it definitely is to let the laundry sit. Everybody who knows me knows that really my guest bedroom has just turned into a laundry room. And at all times there is laundry on the bed. And yeah, in a perfect world, would I have that shit folded up and put away immediately? Sure, I would. But I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I just have to be able to do what I can do, and everything else will be okay. So if you start to find that your house is like feeling chaotic, you're starting to feel out of control, you feel like you get to the end of the night and you've had a long day at work, and you finally got the kids to bed, and you're looking at the house and it's a total wreck, and then you're feeling stressed. Like, first of all, I want yourself to give yourself a little grace and compassion, right? And I don't want you cleaning the house at 11 o'clock, but maybe just take a beat the next day and get it on the calendar when maybe you can tidy things up, right? Maybe it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to let this go for right now, but like Saturday morning before, baseball starts, and before I got to shuttle this kid to this where and because we all know that's how the weekends roll, right? I'm going to get up early. I'm going to prioritize getting to bed on Friday night, and I'm going to get up early, and I'm just going to knock out a few things, and I'm going to feel so much better. I promise you'll feel so much better even going into your week. But this mentality that it's like, oh my God, I got to knock it out like right now, or like because of the stress and all that, like, girl, we got to let that go. Okay. Let that go. Another one is that you're avoiding. So if you notice that you are starting to avoid social events, or even like your support system, you might not have some balance going on in your life. So if you are starting to avoid, people inviting you to dinner or go places, and you are just telling people that you're too busy with work, or you're like too emotionally drained, like, is that the story you're creating? Like, are you too busy with work because you're forcing yourself into work because you want to stay busy, right? The truth is that the isolation is not helpful at all, right? And when we are isolating, we are not allowing time for personal connections, which means we are delaying our healing. So I really just want you to start to notice, are you using work as an excuse to avoid social events and supports and hanging with your friends and hanging with the people who love you, right? Like, yes, that can feel hard, especially like when you Feel like you have no time to yourself. But how many times, seriously, have you like committed to going out with like one of your best girlfriend or something? And you're like, I don't want to go. And then you go and you have the best time and you're so glad you went, right? And so I'm the queen of that. I got to tell you, like I'm the queen of like booking stuff. And then I'm like, I mean, everybody knows I'm always like, oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then I go and I have a great time. But yes, it can feel really hard, but it's always worth it. So yeah, definitely start looking if you're avoiding some social events or support systems. Number 8, you are losing interest in, let's say, a new career. If you started a new career, maybe, or maybe you've even decided that you wanted to start a coaching business post-divorce, like I coach women on. But if you all of a sudden like started this passion project, or this is like maybe you started a new job, or just even you're in your job and you're just starting to feel like really overwhelmed and just starting to feel like burden, or maybe you're feeling like you're just pushing yourself too hard with, and not allowing breaks. Again, I want you to just be aware and not make any knee-jerk decisions. It may not be because you're losing interest in your in this new project you're working on, or your job or whatever. Like, just take a beat and sit with those feelings. It could just be that you're worn the hell out and you need to take a beat. Do you guys hear this continued theme that I keep saying? You need to take a beat. You need to pause a minute, right? 2 more I'm going to share with you guys. You are juggling too many roles, and you're failing to prioritize, right? Too many roles. You feel like you're just spread out all over the place. So if you are somebody that is really trying to be everything to everyone all the time, right? The best boss, the best mom, the friend, the homemaker, but you feel like you're not really doing any of it at all. This lack of focus can make you feel like you're constantly failing, right? Or you're not measuring up in any area of your life. First of all, I want you to pause and ask yourself, like, is that even true, right? Like, are you really constantly failing, or is it really just because you're doing too much, girl? And you need to just take a beat. You need to take a beat, right? And look at some things and figure out what you can say no to, and what you can, and what you have to keep pushing forward with, right? The last one that I want to share is feeling trapped. If you're starting to feel trapped in a never-ending to-do list, if you are starting to feel trapped, like maybe, as we all know, we as moms already wear so many damn hats, right? And then as divorced moms, okay, now you just like doubled our responsibilities, it feels like. And so if you feel like you are really struggling to manage it all on your own, you're really struggling to find some balance between handling, what you've got going on personally, and you're really struggling to, balance just being a good parent, right? And also your work. And you just find yourself constantly saying, oh, I just need to get through this week. Oh, thank God it's Friday. Oh, God, tomorrow's Monday. And you got the Sunday scaries, right? Girl, that is no way to live. And so that might just require you to take a step back and figure out, what can you reprioritize? What can you let go of? So I really, like I said, I wanted to share these top 10 signs that you're struggling with balance in your life, particularly maybe even some work-life balance, because I know firsthand, after, you go through something like divorce, finding balance is freaking hard. And many days it feels like you are drinking through the fire hose, right? And it can be hard. And also, it makes it really even harder if you're not even like loving your job that much, right? Like, I know a lot of women coming out of divorce who, they really weren't satisfied with their job before they got divorced, but now the pressure's on to stay in a good job because of finances, right? And so now you may even feel like more trapped, right? And so if you're listening to this and that is you, listen, I just released a brand new course a couple weeks ago called Nail Your Niche. And the reason why I created this course is because you guys, many of you know, and if you don't know, I'll share with you what I do in my coaching business is I help divorced moms to create an online coaching business of their own. And I'm not talking doing any kind of network marketing or MLM or MRR. Those aren't my jam. I'm talking about really creating a business just like I did 5 years ago. And the reason why I created this course, Nail Your Niche, is because, I talk to women every day who are like, God, I would love to create some more work-life balance in my life because my job is just too demanding. I want to be able to have something where I can work from home so that I can manage all this stuff I have to do, all the responsibilities and everything, managing the kids. I can do all that easier because I'm not tied to a 9 to 5. So I get a lot of feedback from women on social media and in my emails that really want help with this, but they don't know where to start. And so that's why I created Nail Your Niche, because if you are going to start, and this is really just any business, right? If you're going to, especially in the online space where specificity is king, right? Like you've got to be specific. Nailing your niche, meaning answering the question, what problem am I solving? And who am I helping? And then starting to dive into the how am I helping them and how do I create content that really speaks to them? That is the most important step. That's where you have to start. I see so many business owners that come to me, so many coaches that come to me, and they're like, God, Amber, I started this coaching business and it's not going anywhere. And then I go to their social media and it's not clear who they help. It's not clear what their niche is. It's not clear what problem they're solving for people. So people are confused. So this is the place to start. And I wanted to make it so damn affordable for you guys. I wanted to make it a no-brainer. You actually can grab this complete training. And I got to tell you, this is the exact training, you guys, I take my clients on and in a one-on-one environment when I'm coaching them one-on-one. Like when I'm coaching somebody one-on-one to build out their business, this is the first step I take them through. We have like a 90-minute deep dive clarity session where we get shit done and knock this out and really nail their niche. But I know not everybody, it's not accessible to everybody to work with me one-on-one. And also like you may not be ready to work with a coach one-on-one because you're just kind of getting your feet wet and you're like, what could this look like for me, right? So in this course, I created, it is a series of video trainings. You could actually just binge the whole thing and watch it in about an hour, but I break it down into like 7 different modules just to make it bite-sized where you can catch it on the fly. There's different exercises. I walk you through step by step of how to nail your niche. I also even include my free guide, the 100 niche ideas, because maybe you are trying to nail your niche and I take you through different assessments and, touching on your skills and your passions and all of that. I really guide you through kind of this A to Z process. But I also include the 100 niche guide for divorced moms in case you wanted some idea inspiration. So I'm going to drop the link here in the show notes for Nail Your Niche. You guys can grab that, like I said, for $37. And maybe the answer to getting some work-life balance is starting a coaching business of your own. So thank you so much for listening today, and I'll catch you on the next one.